Hello Casual Sweats, today we are playing The Farmer Was Replaced. This is a Steam game that is also an idle game. This is an idle game that you can find on Steam. From what I've seen from other videos, it is a game where you have to, well, farm, but do it in an automated, programmatically way. I appreciate everybody who is watching. If you like the video, subscribe, and that's the last time you're gonna hear that from me today. Awesome. So we're gonna hit play and we're going to try this out. So getting started, this window contains information about everything in the game. You can move the window around by dragging and dropping the gray part of the window. You can move around by dragging anywhere outside the windows. And to get started with programming, go to the first program page by clicking it. Okay, so from what I see, this is like a traditional programming style interface. We will program things and functions that we unlock to allow our drone there to harvest the crops. That's a farming term that I now know. Okay, so all programming is done in code windows. Each window corresponds to a text file containing code. You can rename the file by clicking the name of the window. So cool. So instead of main, we're gonna name this, I don't know. What should we name it? Sweaty code. There we go. Anyways, the code can be edited like in any text editor as long as it's not running. You can execute the program directly by pressing the green button in the code window. Okay. You can create more code files using the plus button in the upper right corner of the screen. Okay. You can dock a window to another window by dragging it onto it. Can we dock? Can I dock these? I cannot. It lied. You notice that once you start typing, a simple code completion window will pop up. Press tab to insert the code completion. Use the arrow keys to navigate through the completion process. Don't worry if this is your first time programming, the language is unlocked step by step, so you won't be overwhelmed by all the things you can do. The syntax is also similar to that of Python, which is one of the most widely used programming languages in the world, so learning it is not completely wasted, which is perfect, because I program in Python all the time. And that's not sarcasm, that is true. If you already know Python, it's not a problem either, you'll just be able to skip the early game quickly to get to the more interesting stuff. Code is a sequence of statements, yada yada yada, cool. Alright, sweet. So I think we could just do like harvest. Sweet, so we're gonna type harvest and zoom in a little bit. So our first little bit of code is gonna be harvest. Harvest is the name of the function. The open and close parentheses indicate that it is a function. And when we play this, our drone should harvest what's underneath it. Sweet. So we're gonna do this on a loop. So we're gonna do a while loop. Whoops, I'm gonna do while. Can I do while? While true harvest. Does it let me do that? Ooh, loops must be unlocked before this can be used. Okay, so we're just gonna do, what about, can I do wait? No. We'll just do harvest and then do a flip. That's cool, flip. If we look at unlocks, we can see loops unlock, costs 5 wheat, and that's our first unlock. As we go through the game, it looks like there's lots of other unlocks, which is pretty cool. A lot of little functions and things that we can do to make the game, I don't know, pretty neat little automated game. I'm excited. Okay, cool, so we're going back to farm. And we have 3, so let's go ahead and just do this a couple more times. We don't need to debug. All right, 5, and now we're gonna unlock loops. Loops are gonna make this a lot easier. So if you don't know what a loop is, you can read this. But essentially what a loop is we define a conditional statement, which is gonna be like a true false. And we say, while this is true, do the thing inside the loop, which is gonna be harvest. So while condition, loop body. So for beginners, so basically what it's saying is like, typically beginners will do harvest, which is fine. But we only want to type it once. So for instance, let's create an example. So like the game says, we could do something like this, where we just type harvest over and over and over again. And if we hit play, the guy just does it really fast. Or we can shorten this. We can say, while true, harvest. Now, we're using the words true. Now in traditional programming, this would be like a big no-no. This is what we would call an infinite loop, because if once I run it, it's always going to be true. Nothing's ever going to take this and turn it false. Now in real life programming, this is a problem. It crashes your code. Infinite loops are big bad no-nos. In this game, it's okay. So traditionally what we would do is we would have like a variable of some kind, which I don't think I have access to yet. But essentially what we would do is like in traditional programming, you would have like variable a equals 0, and then we would say while a equals 1 or 0, harvest, and at the end of harvest, We could be like, we only wanted to run this until a became a certain number. We could be like a equals a plus 1. Or we could say like while a is less than 10. So while a is less than 10, we harvest a equals a plus 1. So this would be like a way to limit how often we're harvesting, and then we would harvest 10 times and we'd break out of a code. This is a lot easier than taking your harvest code. Well, I say easier. It's a lot more efficient than going harvest, 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 whatever. However many times I did that. Because it allows us to take our variable and use it in other areas of our code so we can help determine how often we want to harvest. I know I'm boring you. I don't even have access to variables right now. But that's just what the cool thing about loops and what you can do in the future. But for right now, we're just doing while true. So, have I unlocked? I think I just unlocked loops. So let's see what I've unlocked. Addition. Yeah, so it looks like it says exactly the same thing I said. Normally creating an infinite loop is a bad idea because it will freeze the program, but in this game there are delays between each iteration of the loop, so it will cause the drone to keep doing a flip until you manually stop it by pressing the execute button again. Perfect. So also another good point to make is that this being indented is important. The program, like the text editor, says, hey, this is indented, this exists underneath this while, which also was delimited. This line was delimited by this colon. Colon means like, hey, things after this belong to this as long as it's indented appropriately. If I were to have this code say like this, there's an error because there's nothing here. We could do like a break and we'll harvest once because we broke out of the loop as soon as the loop started. Or we could even do a continue and we will never do anything because we're just continuing the loop. We never get to harvest because harvest doesn't exist inside of the while loop. Incidentally, we could also put harvest underneath continue. Again, we never get to harvest because continue is a term in programming that tells our loop to restart. So we restart before we get to harvest. At the same time, it's also not needed to put continue at the bottom of harvest, because while as we harvest and then go to continue to reset the loop, simply taking continue out, it reached the end of the loop and our loop reevaluates itself to make sure that the statement is still true before we step back into it. So there you go. So let's look at our unlocks. So loops are unlocked. Let's do increase speed of the drone. So execution speed has been doubled. The problem is that the drone now harvests faster than the grass can grow, resulting in no harvest at all. To deal with this, if branches and the can harvest function are now unlocked. So it looks like we can do if can harvest. We do something. What happens when the above code runs? Can harvest is called. Can harvest does this thing. Can harvest returns true or false, if true or if false. So a good example of this is now that the drone moves faster, you'll see we got one. But now I'm chopping my plants before it's ready to be harvested. Some way to fix this would be is while, so if can harvest. So this is another situation where like we're doing true. So like if I were to just put true here, much like our while, this evaluates all the time, but we don't want that. We want to say, hey, if this function evaluates back to a value that we accept, we want to harvest. Now again, we got these colons here. Now this is nested or inside of this other area where there's logic with the colon. So we also, if we want the harvest to work with this if, we've got to indent it as well. So now we can see that we check if the area below us can be harvested, and then we hit the harvest command. Let's move on to the next thing. Ooh, more speed. But it looks like we need to get wood for that. Do we want grass? Expand the farmer. Let's get grass, I guess. Oh, I need 100 of that. Okay, let's get some plant entities.bush. We'll plant a bush under the drone. Okay, but we don't have a lot of land and we need to get more things. So let's go ahead and let this run for a bit and we'll come back and go ahead and buy the other stuff on the other side. Okay, so we're back and I think we can, oh, let's stop, this is annoying. All right, so now we can get, we can get the expand now. Okay, so expand it gives us access to the move function, which is move north, east, south, and west. So now if can harvest, and then we can do move north. So let's do that. Perfect. So it looks like it's just like our code is how it's able to identify when it's at the end of a loop. Our drone is also able to identify when it's at the end of a row, and it goes back to the starting position. So vector unlocks. Need 100 for grass. Let's go ahead and do a couple more. Perfect. So unlock grass, and I don't really know what grass does yet. So, but we got this stuff. Operators, arithmetic comparison. I can't read. Arithmetic, comparison, and logic operators. Senses also is pretty cool. Okay, so this allows us to get wood. So the problem we have right now, so we've got this thing called harvest, and then we got this, we can do like plant new entities like bush. So let's plant a bush. So we'll do plant entities dot bush. No, I've never played this game before, but like I said, I've programmed before, so I'm just used to it. So what this dot is doing is, so plant's a function just like can't harvest, whereas can't harvest returns a value of true or false. Harvest just tells us to do something, so there's no return. Plant is saying, hey, I want to do something, but what do we want to plant? So it's still a function like the others, but we're passing in a value. We're saying we want to plant this thing. The reason that there's a period here is because bush is a child of entities. So we're calling this entities class, right? And we're saying, hey, in this entities class, we want to grab your bush object, and that's what we want to pass into this plant function. Like, we just need the information from this class bush so we can give it to this function so it knows what to plant to the grab. So watch. So it waits, we can harvest. Now what we could do is we could do something we haven't talked about yet. If something is true, it does something, or else if something is not true, we can just say move north. What this basically says is, while this is true, if this is false, we just keep going. So we'll just go until it finds something that can be harvested, and we keep going. Let's let it do that for a minute. And yeah, we can expand again. Probably not a bad idea. Cost 20. Okay, let's pause our code. So we got expand too. With a while loop, so your farm is expanded again. Now the tiles are no longer in a nice row, so you need to find a way to traverse a square grid. With the while loop, this is not possible until you unlock senses and operators. It is time to introduce the for loop. You can read all about the for loop in the for loop page, yada yada yada. We'll talk about it in a minute. So we get the for loop. So not interested in that. I'll explain that. So the function get world size is also available now. It returns the side length of your farm. This way you can write code that won't break with the next expand upgrade. So for I in range, get world size, harvest, move north. Harvest 1 column of the farm for any farm size. If you're okay, so range, get world size, harvest 1 column of the farm for any farm size. Okay, so we want to keep our wild true so in game design, you have something called a game loop. And that's essentially what this is. And the game loop traditionally is while true. So, or until like an exit call is made. So this is going to be our until an exit call is made while true call. So let's see here. So we're still going to want to do the if can harvest plants. We want to keep all of this, but we're going to nest it into something else. So for int I, let me see how the game does its for loops. Yeah, okay. For I in range, get world size. Or you know what? Because I think it says get world size, side length of the grid in the north to south direction. Is there one that gives us the east to west? No. Okay. So we know we have three columns, 3 up and downs. So we're gonna say for I in range, get world size. Well, actually, you know what? We'll just name this our X. And then so here's the trick. So this is going to get us up and down. So for instance, if we just kept this the way it is, nested that in, and then we do this, we would go up and down the entire time. Oh, whoops. The world size is a function. So basically does the same thing we did, but this is kind of what we would call like dynamic code, because what it's going to do is it doesn't matter the size, it's always going to go north and south, which is not too different than what we were doing before. Except what we were doing before was kind of like cheese in the system a little bit. But if you notice, we're not going left or right any. So we need to do that. But what's the best way to do that? Well, we have these move east and west functions. So let's do something a little cheeky. We're going to do for y, because we don't want to mix up our variable names, in range 3. Why 3, do you ask? Well, 3 is the size of our grid. So we have 3 columns, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to do for y in range, oh, I apologize. This isn't going to work, and I'll show you why. Watch this. Well, it'll kind of work, but it's not gonna work quickly. So once this code runs and goes all the way to the top, we want to go over 1. So this is how we do that. I'm actually gonna change this around. And we're gonna change this to 3, change that to get world size, and change that to X. And here's why. Because we want our move east to be right here. What's gonna happen is it's gonna move us east first, and then we're gonna send it to this 4X, and we're gonna go all the way up. Once we're all the way to the end, it's gonna move us east again. We're gonna go all the way up. Just watch. Boom. Move back over, and we're just gonna keep going. There you go. And now we can, besides this 3, because we can't get the world size from the, you know, it doesn't look like it's gonna give me like the X and the Y size of the world just yet. We're able to clear a whole grid. So let's look at our unlocks and let's see what we're gonna do next. The drone can see what's under it and where it is. Arithmetic comparisons and logic operators. Maybe we do like the speed of the drone. Okay. And then like, okay, we can get grass, 300. Okay. We got grass. Can we plant? Let's plant grass. What does this grass give us? Okay. Okay. So that's grass. So how do we get carrots? Oh, carrots are down here. Okay. So we have to get census, the next thing. So let's do grass yield. Yeah. So go to farm. Actually go to options, audio. Boop. Sure. I'll tell you what. And we're just gonna do a bunch of grass. And we want to get to, this would be nice. Grass gives us 300. Got a lot of upgrades here. I thought we'd get through them pretty quick though. Okay, now that our drone has gotten us 200 hay, we're gonna go ahead and lock census. So census allowed the drone to get position X and get position Y. So we get the current X and Y position of the drone, and at the start position they're both 0. X position increases by 1 every tile east, and if it increases 1 every tile north. So if we're in the top right corner of our space right now, it'd be 3, 3. Number of items returns how many items you have. For example, number of items to hay returns how much hay you have. The entity type and get ground type return the type of entity or ground that is under the drone. Once you have unlocked operators, you can check if the drone is over a specific entity or ground. So if entity type equals hay, entity type bush, to flip. So this is what we're going to do. Get entity type wood. For example, a function has no return, none. Okay. So let's do something a little different. We want 200 hay, right? So when we go to plant, if can harvest, let's do this. If get entity type, entity dot, well, no, it wasn't get entity type. It was get, what was it? Number items. Oh, whoops. So if we got get, or like number items hay, it's less than, we want 300, so 300 do plant else. We'll plant that bush. See, this works. Do we have, ooh, we don't have operators yet, so we need to get operators. So what this code basically tells us is like, this is a way for us to determine like, hey, we need hay until we can get hay, and then we do bush until we get the bush we want. So we're just gonna leave it at harvest and let it run, and there we go. So census doesn't really do a whole lot for us right now, but it's something that'll come in handy later. Oh, it's kind of cool. I can like leave that code window over there. Doing pretty good so far. We could unlock carrots, but I think I want to get the operators or like the grass. Let's do grass. Increase the yield of grass first. So now that we've got 300, we're gonna get more grass. Perfect. So each of our grass now gives us 3 units instead of 2, as opposed to just 1 when we started, which like kind of like increases our speed too. Right, we're almost back up to 300. Perfect. Now we've got, oh, need 30 wood. So we'll do that, harvest and not plant dot bush. There we go. All right. So now we can do operators. The operators give us access to arithmetic operators like plus, minus, times, divide, double divide. I don't know if I remember what double divide does. Multiplication. It's basically but it's floored, rounded down to the nearest integer. Okay. And then we got comparison operators like equal equals, not equals, less than equal to, greater than equal to, less than or greater than, and then not and or. So basically that code that we wrote to earlier allows us to do this. So it basically allows us to do what we wanted to do a second ago. So after we harvest, we can say, hey, if num items, items dot hey is less than 300, we want to plant entities dot grass. Else, yeah, we'll just keep it like else. Else, we want to plant well, entities dot push. So this is really cool. So we're gonna play this, and I want you to pay really close attention to kind of what's getting ready to happen. Let's see if I can't make this a little bit smaller. We gotta give it a second. We gotta let it get to 300 because as of right now, we have less than 300 hay. We've got 162. So that's why it's doing this plant entities dot grass. But let's wait and see what happens when we get over 300. All right, now that we have over 300, look at our hay up here. You can see now, instead of planting grass, we're planting bush. Something's wrong. If can harvest, and then we plant. Yeah, okay, we're doing good. Okay, there for a second I thought it was planting wheat over plant bush. No, we're good. So we can stop this, go to our unlocks, and we can work towards carrots. Oh, I don't see like we're doing our speed upgrade. We need carrots for that. Let's get carrots unlocked, and then let's go from there. Okay, so we've gotten 100 wood, so we're gonna come over here to carrots. And we're gonna get carrots. So before you can plant a carrot with plant entities like carrot, you have to do two things. They can only grow in tilled soil, and the tilled soil is simply called till. Calling till, we'll change it back. We'll change it back to grounds.turn. Second feature is carrots need seed to grow. To buy carrot seeds with a trade function, you have to pass an item to type trade like this. Trade items like carrot seed. If it can buy, so we have to till, and we have to buy. So this is where everything we've learned up to this point is really going to come in handy. So first thing we learned is how a while loop works. Then we learned how a for loop works. We learned how to move. We learned how to get our position in the world and move through a grid. We've learned how to harvest. We've learned how to check how much of an item we have, and then do with an if statement and conditionals, do different things. Now we got to do something else. So first, we're going to do an elif. First thing we're going to learn. And we're going to change number of items. Items. Dot. No, I changed my mind. We're going to plant some carrots. So, what's the best way to do this? Okay, so I think we buy carrot seeds with wheat, right? So let's back out. Let's code a little bit. So if hay is less than 300, we want to plant grass because hay is going to allow us to buy carrot seeds. So else if number of items dot carrot seed is less than how many carrot seeds do you think we should need? We're gonna say less than 25. So if carrot seeds is less than 25, then we're going to while number of items dot carrot seeds less than 25, we're going to trade items like carrot seed. I think that's how that works. Let's go ahead and look at the trade function again real fast. Tries to buy the specified item. If the item cannot be bought or you don't have the required resources, it simply does nothing. Trade item, buy the item once. Trade item, if unlocks, multi-trade is unlocked. Oh, we have to unlock multi-trade. That's a cool feature. We'll come back to that. It throws an error. Returns true if was able to buy the items, false otherwise. It takes the time of 200 operations to execute if succeeded, 1 operation otherwise. Example, if num unlocks multi-trade greater than 0, that's kind of cool. Trade, okay, for I in range 10, trade carrot seed. I like that one better. So we're going to trade this out. We're going to do for I in range of 10, we'll do 25. No, we'll buy it in 10 bulk. Trade items that carry seed. We'll always buy 10 at a time, but we always want to have more than 25. Right? So, but let's only trade for carrots if we're in a position. So here's an idea. So let's do this. Let's do some. So if get position x equals 0 and get position y equals 0, we're going to say if number of carrots, and then we're going to say for I in range, trade items dot carrot seed. Perfect. So basically we're saying when we're at the beginning of our farm, let's buy. This will be our buy phase. And then we move through at our world. So if hay is greater than 300, plant. Else, let's say if number of items dot carrots is less than, let's say 100. We want to see the land that we're over. So if the land that we're over is tilled, so which is our senses. So senses tell us get entity type. Okay. And then, so get entity type, get ground type. There we go. And then we can do ground dot, there we go. If get ground type is equals to grounds dot soil, then we want to till. Else if get ground type equals to grounds dot till, no, turf, then we will want to plant. Oh, if it's equal to turf, we'll do plant, and then we'll plant entities dot carrot, and then after the till, we can actually do, plant entities dot carrot, and then move on. I think that's a good way to look at it. And then we'll only harvest, check this out. So if get ground type is not equal to grounds dot turf, because basically what we want to say is like, hey, if it's turf, it's never gonna be harvested because that's for carrots. So first thing, space this out a little bit so it's a little easier to read. So, oh, just gonna have to move it. Can't scroll it. Kind of annoying. So if this, so I think it's good. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna shop, get our carrot seeds, and then we can harvest. If our wheat is less than 300, plant grass. If our carrots are less than 100, we will till, yada yada yada, do all that. Else, we plant our entities dot bush. Boom. Let's see what happens. There must be a colon at the, oh, yep, forgot with colon at our beginning of every code block. Oh, I don't need this bracket to equal to for this. Oh, I need to move my drone back to, let's move this here. So I want him to shop when he gets to the beginning, but he don't ever get to the beginning top there. So, so I forgot to put the function parentheses on my get position Y, which made it to where the equal was not equaling, like equivalency correctly. So let's see, east. All right, executes one step of the code. Trade items dot carrot seed. Okay, so it looks like it's working now. So, but we're not harvesting. We're also not. Oh, you know what? It's because we don't always move east on 0, which is causing a problem. So it'll work now. Oh, so maybe we need to move our buy code to always be inside of this code, which isn't a problem. How this works out. Interesting. In here, it's not trading. Oh, you know why? Is it because I'm carrot seed? It costs a wood. Okay, so let's do an or. So we're gonna use another operator that we got. So programming operators or. So this is an or. That's the programming language. So we're gonna do or number of items. No, because I want to do something specific. Let's just do this. Let's just do elif items wood is less than, let's say 200. Plant these dot push, and then we just get rid of this completely. So, and then this isn't working because the ground that we're above is maybe soil. Fill it. Maybe we can do like a not. Let's see if the not works for us. All right, begin every code block. Get ground type not turf. Let's look at this get ground type real quick. Get ground type. It's exactly what we were trying to do. So if it's not equal to soil, till it. Okay, let's look at the till. Or turf. Oh, is turf. Grass will grow on it. Soil. Oh, okay. So if it's not soil, no, it is. If it equals soil, harvest it. Okay. I think the problem is when something starts growing on it. Here, we'll just do this. If can harvest, we'll just harvest. Perfect. Now let's try this. Okay. There we go. We're doing good now. So good, that's absolutely what we need. I just had to learn how to use the program correctly. So I think what we were doing wrong is we had to first realize that it took hay and wood to buy our carrot seeds. And then the second thing we were doing wrong is we were just like over evaluating the ground type when really we just needed to, if we can harvest, we just harvest. Like we just didn't need the extra logic for that. So, yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. So let's let this run for a minute. Look at our unlock. It unlocks trees. That'd be kind of cool. Watering the plants makes them grow faster. Probably need more speed for that. Awesome. 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 Well, guys, let's go ahead and let's pause this. Let's get some carrots. Let's watch our code do some magic. Do some work here. 1 second. Turf. There we go. There we go. Now we're getting carrots. Buy our carrot seeds. Whoops. This is not what I want to do. Can we do it? This all needs to come out. A layer. Perfect. Now, run it. Oh, whoops. That's right. Soil. No. No, turf. That's right. If this is soil. Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't equating like my ground types correctly in the beginning, which kind of caused some issues later on. So now we've got some barriers. So we're gonna basically say, hey, we're always gonna have 300 hay. We're always gonna have at least 50 wood, and we're always gonna have at least 100 carrots. And when we get back to position 0, that's weird. 1 second. Oh, it's because my move is inside that. That's not a thing anymore. So it used to be at the end of this if can't harvest, but at the end of the day, we always want to move north. So yeah, so we changing things up a little bit. So we're always going to have 300 hay, we're always going to have 50 wood, and we're always going to have 100 carrots. And this coast is going to make sure that we're planting the appropriate plant based off of the parameters that we've set. So anyways, so this is, what's the name of this game again? 1 second. So this is The Farmer Was Replaced. And great game, and it looks like I've broke it. Oh, it's because we've got everything, so there is no else condition, so we can just do this. Else plant these dots grass. There we go. So yeah, so this is The Farmer Was Replaced, and yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. Anyways, stay sweaty, and we'll see you guys next time.